This is a Boulevard magazine, as you know, but here it says bullshit bingo, so already we got it. The negativity about everything. So there is some kind of a quiz about a just married couple, and what you got here is all sort of negative remarks. And since I have never really pointed out this other fact why they do this negative everything news in the media, I will do it right now. So I learned that when something negative gets presented to you, what you do is you start reacting. So it's our maybe reptile brain that does this. It's like either we do attack, we do run away, or we freeze to death. That's what we can do. So there is this bullshit, already negative word, bingo, and I guess it's because they want us to stay in this reactionary mode, which is different from a active mode. Because if you need to react to sorts of things all the time, you don't really get to act out on things that you would decide to do, because you're still in this reactionary mode. So that's what they figured out. So that's why they present all these negative things. Like here it's just negative remarks, but otherwise in the news it would be negative news. As I pointed out in other videos, it never says this and that many people got born successfully. It always says this and that one hasn't worked out. There was this and that accident. And then I said it is because there is this relatively short ladder from being healthy to being ill. When stuff that is negative and you cannot do anything about it gets built up and hasn't been solved. So first you start being nervous, then you get fatigue, then you get burnt out, then you get suicidal, and then it is schizophrenic. Yeah, they really brainwash us into this sort of negativity thinking. Because when people marry, and this is a special in here, they got on honeymoon and marrying and presents to give to newlyweds, and also the dresses. Should be a happy day. But here it says, when does the DJ finally start playing Helen Fisher? And then they've been not giving out that much money for the drinks. Aren't there any single men around? Oh no, not another speech. Have you been thinking it through truly? Like the couple? Haven't they been to a dancing lesson? It's all negative. The ones that I read to you already are negative. So normally all the things you cannot do anything about, like someone dies, you get ill, you face the sack from your work, you face a relationship that breaks up. These things you normally cannot do anything about. So these are the negative things that build up to this illness, where you first of all are just nervous, and then when this continues and some other negative fact gets added, you start being fatigued, just tired, then you start being burnt out, and then you get suicidal after that one, and then when you haven't killed yourself, you end up being schizophrenic. That's what I learned. So I've been up this ladder until burnt out and yeah, burnt out. The next one would have been suicidal, and I wasn't ever going to be like not wanting to continue living. But it's easy to get there because we all have unemployment, people dying, stuff like that happening in our lives. So I'm not really sure about these other negative things, how they influence us. But I'd say a state of energy where you are positive about stuff is much more powerful. So you got more power cycling up a hill when you think good about it. When you go saying, I don't want to, and I'm tired, and stuff like that, it's much harder to do it. So probably that's why they do it. It's just all negative. Like you start reading there, they say to get slim without a diet. Then you say, oh, I'm fat because I'm not as thin as this lady here. So, that's a way of kind of putting all these negative things into our lives. In a way. Yeah. And so on. I've gone through these kind of Boulevard magazines quite a lot, so I'm not repeating myself about the weight loss thing, which is unnecessary because if there is a crisis, you depend upon your extra fat to make it through like 2 weeks without money and eating, right? So, for example, Miley Cyrus, she looked super slim when she was dancing on MTV Music Awards, and on her Wrecking Ball as well. But now she looks, in our eyes, already fat. But actually, she looks just right because she's still slim. She doesn't have a lot of extra fat. I saw people on Naked Survival, like after 2 weeks, they were already bones. They lost all their fat because there was nothing to eat. So 2 weeks, and then people aren't able to think properly anymore if there is no sugars and no food and no nothing. So yeah, you shouldn't be fat like this because that's not healthy as well. But she's perfectly fine, even like this. You see the fat here, but that's fine. Yeah. So they do this kind of, the women, they always go, the only thing I can control in my life is how much I eat. So for an extra boost of positive hormones, they would go and restrict their eating of certain things, and then they feel strong. That's why it works so well. Yeah. Heidi's gonna marry soon. Nice. They make people not even have blonde hair now, but white hair. Like young ones looking old. But that's really something the majority on earth with dark eyes really crave. They want to get rid of their dark everything, hair, eyes, skin. I'm really proud of my brownish hair, and I won't ever dye it in any direction, darker or lighter, because so many people on earth have dark eyes and black hair, and they are not that individual. But I am. And that's what the elite wants to get rid of. That's why I did this other review on this Meghan Markle, because now we shall get used to brownish everything and admire whatever is brownish. So Swiss, the supermodel was a dark skinned person, and yeah, there was Panther getting a lot of Oscars, which is just dark people in this movie. I didn't watch it after the first 3 minutes I went like, I'm not interested in these dark-skinned people, and it's a bad movie anyhow. Then yeah, where else do we have dark-skinned people? They are the majority on Earth, but in here, funny enough, the stars, they all want to be blonde. They dye their hair to get blonde hair. You know, they aren't as blonde like this, but they dye it so that it gets blonde like this. So that's all I needed to say. Goodbye.